What if the world's next big power shift didn't come from war, elections, or AI, but from a single energy deal no one saw coming? While the U.S. was busy defending its position as a global energy leader, China quietly. No negotiations, no warnings, just a clean break. And who stepped in to fill the gap? Not Russia, not Europe, the UAE. This isn't just a gas deal, it's a geopolitical earthquake. In 5 short years, China just redefined the rules of energy security, blindsided the U.S. energy market, and handed the UAE a golden ticket to global influence. Think this is just about LNG? Think again. This is about control, survival, and who really holds the keys to the future. You're about to uncover the story most people will miss, because it's buried beneath numbers, policy briefs, and diplomatic smiles. But here, we decode the real game. And by the end of this video, you'll see why this one shift could change everything. Buckle up. When Chinese President Xi Jinping landed in Saudi Arabia, it wasn't just another diplomatic handshake. It was a message broadcasted loud and clear to the world. Behind the ceremonial glamour was a calculated pivot, a bold reorientation of China's energy compass. Amid rising tensions with Washington, Xi wasn't simply visiting. He was planting flags, not just on sand, but across the geopolitical board. This wasn't about photo ops. It was about power, strategy, and rewriting the global rules of the LNG, liquefied natural gas game. By locking in high-stakes discussions with Arab leaders, particularly the UAE, China effectively launched a new energy playbook. The spotlight fell on a strategic LNG agreement with the UAE, a move loaded with implications far beyond natural gas. It's a maneuver that blends diplomacy with resource acquisition, threading energy security directly into China's expanding network of influence. It also signaled a not-so-subtle shift in the winds of the global trade war. China isn't waiting around to be dictated to anymore. This deal marked a fresh chapter not only in international alliances, but also in the story of global geopolitics itself. It sets the tone for what's next, a scene where the U.S. is no longer the default energy supplier and where power dynamics start shifting east. If you're intrigued by this turning point in history, now's the time to dive deeper. Tap that like button, hit subscribe, and join a growing community that refuses to be left in the dark when the world changes overnight. China's latest move wasn't just bold, it was surgical. By cutting a 5-year LNG deal with the UAE, China effectively gave the U.S. energy sector the cold shoulder. That's not just an economic snub. It's a strategic elbow to the ribs in the ongoing trade war. The message? China no longer views American LNG as reliable or even necessary in a world that's shifting faster than ever. This move hits deeper than it seems. The U.S. had long banked on its LNG exports to China as a cornerstone of economic growth and energy diplomacy. Suddenly, that bridge has not just been burned, it's been detonated. The UAE-China deal signals something larger than commerce. It reveals a shift in allegiance, a redrawing of maps that once seemed permanent. And when maps change, history tends to follow. The U.S. energy market is now grappling with a new reality, one where it no longer holds the upper hand in Asia's energy future. But this is only the surface of the disruption, because China isn't just replacing American gas. It's redesigning the entire supply chain from the inside out. What looks like a trade decision on paper is actually a masterclass in geopolitics. China is repositioning itself not just as a buyer, but as a power broker, shifting away from transoceanic reliance on U.S. LNG and leaning hard into regional suppliers like the UAE. Under the Belt and Road Initiative, energy partnerships aren't just about fuel. They're about influence, logistics, and long-term energy security. This isn't just diversification for the sake of variety. It's strategic redundancy. By partnering with Gulf nations, China is not only securing more control over its LNG sources, but insulating itself from U.S. leverage. The UAE-China deal is more than an energy handshake. It's a geopolitical firewall. It's the kind of insurance policy a global superpower writes when it plans to outlast the storm. Think of it like playing chess with pipelines and sea routes. Every move is designed to corner your opponent while opening up new lanes for yourself. And just as the U.S. begins to feel this tightening pressure, another domino falls. If you find this analysis eye-opening, don't miss the next moves, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you're never a step behind in this global game. Imagine investing billions into a booming industry, only to have your biggest customer vanish overnight. That's exactly what just hit the U.S. energy sector. Chinese imports of American LNG have reportedly dropped to zero. This isn't a bad quarter, it's a strategic shutout. And the loss isn't just in exports, it's in credibility, leverage, and future planning. American LNG firms spent years building infrastructure tailored for Chinese demand, terminals, tankers, trans-Pacific logistics, all geared toward a now-absent buyer. This wasn't just business, it was a geopolitical bet. And when trade war tariffs mixed with diplomatic fallout, the bet imploded. China walked away, and it didn't look back. The ripple effect will be massive. From Wall Street analysts to Gulf Coast contractors, the blowback is already being felt. But China's decision wasn't just reactive, it was orchestrated. And while the U.S. scrambles to redirect its energy exports, guess who's quietly taking its place at the global LNG table? Enter the UAE, small in size, but now giant in influence. With energy titan ADNOC leading the charge, the UAE is positioning itself as a heavyweight in the global LNG market. The deal with China isn't just about selling gas. It's about stepping into a power vacuum left by the U.S. And they're doing it with precision and flair. The UAE-China deal isn't your average export agreement. It's a launchpad for deeper strategic partnerships. It boosts the UAE's political clout, diversifies its economy, and ties it tighter into China's Belt and Road Network. It's not just LNG that's flowing, it's influence and lots of it. Every shipment cements their role in the region's power matrix. And here's the twist. While many think of energy as barrels and pipelines, it's actually about alliances and leverage. The UAE knows this. That's why they're not just riding the wave, they're building the current. But with these gains in place, what happens next to the rest of the world's supply chain? In a world this interconnected, one major LNG shift doesn't stay local, it sends shockwaves. The China-UAE deal has already begun rebalancing global supply chains. Asian buyers, European importers, and even African markets are reassessing their strategies. Prices will shift, routes will evolve, and the concept of energy security will get rewritten again. Suppliers once comfortable with status quo agreements are now scrambling to stay relevant. Diversification isn't just wise, it's survival. And as China locks in new partners, others feel the squeeze. It's a reminder that energy trade isn't just numbers and contracts. It's the bloodstream of geopolitics. Cut off one artery, and the whole body reacts. So, what does this mean for countries relying on stable LNG flows? They'll need to adapt, and fast. Because this isn't just about a bilateral deal, it's about a reshaping of the global order. And back in China, the people are already framing this move as something far more than strategy. In China, the state media isn't just reporting the UAE-China deal, they're celebrating it. Platforms are framing the agreement as a brilliant move for energy security, a flex of independence in the face of Western pressure. National pride is being woven directly into the LNG narrative. And it's working. On Weibo and other major networks, influencers and officials alike are reinforcing the idea that China is no longer at the mercy of foreign energy whims. The trade war may have hurt, but this deal, they say, shows resilience, vision, and strategic superiority. It's about more than gas. It's about self-reliance. It's about rewriting the rules. But what the public isn't fully seeing is that this deal is also part of a much bigger plan, a plan that stretches beyond the UAE and into multiple continents. And that's exactly where China's next energy plan is unfolding. The UAE-China deal is just one piece of a far more intricate puzzle. China's energy policy isn't just reactive, it's methodical. From Qatar to Russia to Australia, Beijing is diversifying its LNG sources like a seasoned investor hedging every bet. It's about flexibility, bargaining power, and future-proofing its supply chain. This isn't about ditching the U.S. for one new partner. It's about not being cornered ever again. Strategic diversification is the name of the game, and China's playing it better than most. By ensuring multiple reliable suppliers, it's reducing vulnerability, increasing resilience, and subtly shifting global power dynamics in its favor. And while the headlines focus on the UAE, the real story lies in the bigger strategy. China's building an energy empire, not with brute force, but with precision, partnerships, and patience. Now, here's the question. How many other global moves are happening under the radar, while we're all watching the obvious? Now that you know what really happened behind the Chinese LNG deal, ask yourself this. How many other silent shifts are shaping our world while everyone's distracted? You just gained access to a level of insight most people will never hear on the news or read in the headlines. And that alone puts you ahead of the curve. But this is just one chapter in a much bigger story. Global power is no longer just about politics. It's about ports, pipelines, and partnerships. So what else don't we know? What other alliances are being made behind closed doors that could flip the script on everything we think we understand about geopolitics? Let's keep peeling back the layers, because knowledge like this is what separates those who just watch the world happen from those who understand how it's being built. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share what surprised you most, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. This journey into hidden power plays is just beginning.